Gold can be drawn into a wire. 1 gram gold can be drawn into a wire of 2 kilometer length. So you can just imagine that just 1 gram gold, you can draw it into a wire of 2 kilometer length. So imagine how ductile it is. And same is with silver. Silver and gold are both very malleable and very ductile. And the last comes that, you must have seen, you take an iron rod, you keep it over a flame, you keep it over the gas. So after some time, what do you feel? You feel your hands are getting warm, and then your hands get really hot, and then you leave the rod. So the rod is getting hot. So suppose this is the flame, you put the rod over here. This end is getting heated, but you feel the heat at this end. How? Because the heat will be conducted from this end to this end. It will flow from this end to this end. And due to this flow of heat, this rod will be called a good conductor of heat. So, and metals are generally good conductors of heat. So, and obviously when you have non-metals, they'll either burn. You have hydrogen gas, it will just blast. You have carbon, it will just burn away. Or they will not conduct heat at all. They are very poor conductors of heat. And similarly, if they are good conductors of heat, they will have to be good conductors of electricity. Suppose you have a battery, you have a broken circuit over here, and you have a bulb over here. So obviously this bulb will not glow because there is a broken circuit. Try putting a non-metal strip over here. You will see that the bulb will still not glow, because non-metals will not conduct electricity. They are very bad conductors of electricity. But if you keep a metal strip over here, any metal, copper, gold, iron, platinum, silver, anything you keep, you'll see that the bulb will start glowing. So what this suggests, that metals are not only good conductors of heat, they are also good conductors of electricity. And on the other hand, non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. And lastly, metals will have very high melting points and boiling points. This is the characteristic property of metals. They'll have very high melting points and boiling points. And non-metals will have low melting points and boiling points. And due to this reason, most of the non-metals are gases. You will find only one non-metal, bromine, which is a liquid, and carbon, iodine, these sort of non-metals are solids. So generally all these hydrogen is not actually a non-metal. All these helium, neon, argon, all these are non-metals. Chlorine, fluorine, and they are gases. So this non-metals, actually, you know, non-metals will exist, metals exist generally as a solid except for mercury. Mercury is a liquid. Apart from that, all the metals are solids. But non-metals, you'll have carbon, silicon, or silicon is not actually non-metal, so metalloid. You have carbon, iodine. These exist as solids. Then you have bromine, which exists as a liquid. And you have chlorine, fluorine, helium, neon, all these things and many others existing as gases at room temperature. This is very important. They exist as solids, liquids and gases only at room temperature. I mean, you can actually vaporize bromine to form bromine gas, but that doesn't mean that bromine is a gas. So you have to specify that they exist as liquid at room temperature. So this non-metals, they can exist as solid, liquid or gases. Metals generally exist as solids except for mercury. But you know, after defining all these properties, still we have some exceptions. What are those exceptions? Great things which defied the properties of metals and non-metals. First of all, as I already told, mercury is a liquid at room temperature, whereas all the other metals are solids. Then we have gallium and cesium. These have very low melting and boiling points. No, generally metals have high melting and boiling points. Gallium and cesium have low melting and boiling points, actually very low. If you just keep them on your palm, they will melt. So they have very low melting and boiling points, but still they are considered as metals. Then you have another exception, that iodine is a non-metal but has luster like metals, but still it is considered as a non-metal. And another exception is that sodium and potassium, these two, instead of being hard, are very soft. Generally metals are hard, very hard, but sodium and potassium are very soft. In fact, you can cut them with a knife very easily. So after defining all these physical properties, 5, 6, 7 physical properties, still we have some great stuff, some great elements which have the courage to defy the properties of metals and non-metals. So what do? We have defined here only the physical properties. So to eliminate these exceptions, or to explain the exception of these exceptions, it means that to explain why these exceptions are exceptions, we have the chemical properties.